It's almost October and candy corn is in the air. But the only thing that has me frightened is how crappy you look in that shirt. You see, when I wear my old button-up shirts now, they remain unbuttoned so that I can show off my t-shirts from Into the AM. I've shown this one off a couple times before. It's a glow-in-the-dark t-shirt of an astronaut playing an arcade cabinet. It's a conversation starter, and if you're really bad at socializing, it's a conversation ender, too. Look, I know me telling you your fashion sucks and then telling you to go use the link in the description and code 1boom10 to go get yourself a new shirt is tedious. You want to hear me complain about Call of Duty, but man, you can get an awesome graphic tee 10% off with code 1boom10. It supports my channel, it supports a great product. These shirts are well fitted, comfortable, soft. Everyone that I've sold these to is in love with them. So just join that club, and in the future, I will remember not to put candy corn in my mouth before I record an ad. That made this way harder than it needed to be. Really though, you look like shit. Hey there, this is the One Boom, and recording this commentary after eating candy corn is going to be a fun little extra challenge for me, so let's see how I do. The Modern Warfare 2 beta just ended for me, and I decided, well, for today's video, I'll just rant about my experience with both beta weekends, and I don't know, you can form your own opinions based on my opinions, or hopefully based on your play experience, and hopefully not based off of the ramblings on Twitter. Like, yeah, the first part of this video is going to be me complaining about the fact that everyone's complaining. Every single complaint I've heard about Modern Warfare 2 falls into one of two camps. Incredibly valid, or the dumbest crap I've ever heard. Seriously, there have been some shit takes about this game. Mass generalizations, hyperbolic bullshit, stuff that just doesn't hold much water when you put it under a microscope. A lot of people just seemingly angry because they're bad, and also people not understanding that the beta player base is different than the launch and, post-launch player base. Like, for instance, people are saying this game has a camping problem, but it has a completely different map design philosophy for Modern Warfare 2019. There's a million ways to spot enemies in this game compared to Modern Warfare 2019. And while footsteps are too loud and red names need to show up over enemies' heads, I think labeling this game as campy this early is a bit of a joke. It's absolutely worth noting that Call of Duty takes a while to learn for a lot of people, and during a beta, nobody knows the maps. They don't know how to play with confidence, they don't know how to push with confidence, and because of the loud footstep audio, which is an issue, yeah, people didn't play as aggressively as you might have liked. But all the enemies that gave me trouble were aggressive, not campy. Yeah, it de-incentivizes movement to have footsteps as loud and as detailed and as pinpointable as they are. Throughout both beta weekends, I didn't see any matches go to the time limit, and the most successful players I went up against were aggressive, not campy. I do think reducing footstep audio, making Spotter a base perk, and then also adding red names above people's heads is gonna help a lot with camping, but I didn't see any signs of a systemic camping issue like I did in Modern Warfare 2019. Also, there's no way to just spawn in with 2 claymores, and there's no way to just hide yourself off the minimap 100% of the game. You have people acting like they can't dictate the flow of combat, they can't predict enemy positions, and they can't play the game or function in the game because of the lack of red dots on the minimap. With all the tools at your disposal to spot enemies, plus the frequency of UAV call-ins, I didn't see this as an issue, and I want to challenge the notion that this is promoting camping by not having red dots. I listed it as one of the many issues in Modern Warfare 2019 that led to a camping problem. I believe Modern Warfare 2019 had 7 or so mechanical issues plus its complicated map design to blame for its problems. But with this game, no, not so much. And if the minimap's supposed to work like it did in previous Call of Duty games, why wouldn't we just all run a suppressor? You might think, well, that's not how old COD games were. People didn't just run suppressors back then, and that's because you only had the option for 1 attachment back then, unless you ran a perk to get 2 attachments. So yeah, back in the day, people wouldn't main suppressors all the time. Of course not. They hurt your damage range, and you had very few attachment options. Duh. Now with a gunsmith system, you're just gonna have people picking suppressors every time. The suppressors have been rebalanced around the new minimap to be stealth tools that make your gun feel a little bit more stable and accurate, and giving you a cleaner sight picture by diminishing muzzle flash and smoke. Okay, that's what the suppressors are doing. If you also give them the ability to hide you off the minimap all the time because the minimap's looking for you all the time, you're just gonna have a crutch problem, and I just don't think it's a necessary change that needs to happen. The idea that people are being ratty and campy because unsuppressed fire doesn't show up on the minimap, I just don't think that idea holds any water. If I want to be a rat, I'm just gonna throw one of the really nice buffing suppressors onto my gun and have an extra buff because of how that minimap system would work. Like that doesn't make any sense. So the minimap complaints, I really just don't understand. Not only are there tons of ways to spot people and tons of things going on at all times that'll help you pinpoint enemy locations, they literally have a spotting and pinging system in the game for just such things. And the compass is still active, showing you the direction of unsuppressed fire. If you can't manage a match without the red dots, I don't know what to tell you. My opinion on this subject has adjusted because I played all of Modern Warfare 2019's life cycle and then some with its current minimap system, which is the same, and guess what? It's not that bad, and it keeps suppressors from being total crutches. The one thing I would like to see if they wanted to bring something back from Advanced Warfare is the parabolic microphone, which was an attachment that allowed you to see suppressed fire on the minimap for a short period of time. A parabolic microphone piece of equipment, or field upgrade, or attachment, or something that allows you to see unsuppressed fire on the minimap at all times could work. If the bird's eye perk made it work like that, that could be pretty good. There could be things to fix this, but look, it's just not something I think really needs to be fixed. The problem I had throughout this beta was rounding corners and second guessing my enemies because for some reason the game shows me a blue dot above my teammate's head across the map. So it's not a relevant teammate to me at all, but I'll see their blue dot, but the enemy in front of me has no indication that they're an enemy. Now, if I get to know the factions better, I'll be better at picking out, oh, that's the enemy team faction, and it's definitely something I could become used to, but I'm gonna say I shouldn't have to. More so than footstep audio, more so than the minimap, this is the biggest issue in Modern Warfare in terms of its current design. I should not see blue dots in full opacity through the entire map at all times with enemies in front of me giving me no indication of their team. There are so many times I mistake an enemy for a teammate because the blue dot that is above my teammate's head 80 meters away is hovering above the enemy because of how the heads-up display is set up, and that's unacceptable to me. Head glitching is insanely powerful in this game because you can look right at a head glitcher, a red name does not pop above their head, no red dot pops above their head, so you have no idea that it's an enemy until they've already started shooting you. And in a game with a really fast TTK, I think more visual indications for enemy presence should be necessary. And I don't mean enemy presence like being on the minimap. I mean an enemy literally standing right in front of you that you have to take a double take on because their outfit sort of blends in with the wall they're near, and there's a bunch of blue dots behind them because that's your team, and you really can't tell if that's something you need to be reacting to or not. I wouldn't whine if they added a traditional minimap to the game, but I'm going to bitch if we don't get red names above enemies' heads, or at least better indications of who the fuck we're going to be shooting at. Now when it comes to footstep audio, I'm a little mixed on this. I don't like the idea of Ninja being a base perk because Ninja as a base perk is just going to be the crutch. We don't want that. I would rather Ninja work in a way that you are silent unless you tack sprint or dolphin dive or slide, and I want it to work as an ultimate perk or at least a bonus perk, if the perk system they have stays the same, and we'll talk about that more in a second. But more so, I would rather just footstep audio be a little bit more balanced, be a little bit harder to detect, especially on certain surfaces. Various wood floors and staircases on particular maps are just complete and total giveaways that you're pushing on somebody. Like, they can just tell not just like where you're coming from, but exactly where you're standing in certain maps because of, again, certain surfaces are just so much louder than others, like wood floors and metal escalators. I feel like Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer is using the campaign assets for footstep audio and for smoke and flare effects and things of that sort, because it's very dramatic, it's very immersive, but it doesn't really feel right in the multiplayer at all, and they were able to quickly, between the beta weekends, reduce the amount of muzzle smoke, and they did tweak footstep audio a little bit. I think it's campaign settings currently, and hopefully by launch they'll have it dialed in more towards multiplayer. My opinion on footsteps is that if you barrel towards me, I should be able to hear you. Anything else, honestly, should be fair game. I hate that in Call of Duty Vanguard, for instance, somebody can tack sprint at you full speed and you won't be able to hear them if they have dead silence or ninja active, and that's always bothered me. Even if you wait to use your field upgrade and you want to say that that's a good trade-off because I had to wait and time it right, I'm still gonna say I'm a little miffed about it. Making players take into account how they're moving if they want to be stealthy, I don't think is a bad thing. I don't think it's trying to make the game too realistic or tactical. I just don't think people should be able to barrel around the map at Mach 10 completely silent. So I think if they add dead silence as a perk in any way, it shouldn't work while tack sprinting, and it shouldn't work while sliding or dolphin diving, but in terms, or jumping maybe even. But in terms of mantling and sprinting, I think that's okay. Walking definitely, crouching definitely. And on the topic of dead silence, they also need to get rid of the startup animation for dead silence, and they need to get rid of the startup sound for dead silence. Whoever at Infinity Ward decided to nerf dead silence that hard, I would love to spank your bottom. I wasn't gonna be passing around dunce caps during this beta until I realized that they just nerfed dead silence into the ground, didn't add ninja as a perk, and expected people to be quiet about it even after all the feedback they got on their previous title. And just seeing how happy people were to have stealth perks in games like Vanguard and Cold War, this is such a massive regression I don't understand. But the perk system in general just hasn't grown on me. It doesn't really affect me in-game as much. I guess when I'm in-game I don't think about it. But there's no reason to just limit my playstyle to certain arbitrary time set during a match. And they even during the beta reduce the amount of time they take to charge. Why do I have to wait 1 minute to get the focus or spotter perk? That doesn't make any sense. Some things are really arbitrary, like why is tracker a base perk and spotter a bonus perk? Why is fast hands a bonus perk? That just lets me swap my weapons and throw shit faster. Why is there a focus perk in the game at all? They even brought back last stand and put it in a bonus perk section, but then when they reduce the amount of time it takes to charge, after 4 minutes into a game you get a lot of people using last stand, and it's not that fun to deal with. What I would love for them to do is just a pick 5 system. A pick 5 system would be really easy to implement. Just let me pick lethal tactical 3 perks, 5 perks, 4 perks and a lethal, 2 lethals, 2 tacticals and 1 perk. Let me make my class, please, for the love of God. We've had such piss poor class customization for the last 3 Call of Duty games, and this is more arbitrarily limiting of playstyles, which doesn't make any sense because their big talking point during the COD Next presentation was we want to support all playstyles. Okay, then why does my playstyle not get to come into effect until halfway through the game? I don't get to run Cold-Blooded and Ghost simultaneously with my stealth class until 4 or 5 minutes in? Why? We wanted to make sure the first part of every match is slightly less fun than the second half. Why? Why? How about you just balance Ghost properly? How about you just balance the perks properly, or balance them in a way that makes them fun to select and use? And then if you still wanted people to get upgrades during the game, then add pro versions of the perks to that pick 5 system I just talked about. It'd be so much better. And then people don't get guaranteed lethals and tacticals, which is something that really pisses me off about Modern Warfare 2. I hate guaranteed lethals and tacticals in Call of Duty. I really do. I don't think everybody should have snapshot, gas grenade, flashbang, concussion, frag grenade, frag grenade, frag grenade, frag grenade, Simtex, 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 thermite, 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 drill charge, drill charge. It gets old. It got old listening to me say that, right? That's what it feels like to play domination in this game. Game modes like hardpoint, domination, anything where you have to defend an objective just becomes how many flashbangs can you resist? And not only that, perks like EOD and Battle Hardened are base perks. Good, but Battle Hardened barely works, and they're basically crutch perks if you're in a match where enemies are throwing a lot of grenades. Why do I just get to have a Simtex or a Claymore or a Flashbang or these things that just kill people right out or give you a huge advantage in a gunfight? You should have to give up potential perks to run a Claymore. You should have to give up something to run a frag grenade. I don't know why this hasn't been done. I've been having to put up with guaranteed lethals and tacticals on everyone's classes since COD World War II, and frankly, I'm sick of it. Wondering what gadget somebody has in their pocket is bullshit, especially since we already have a double field upgrade system. If we already have a field upgrade system, that's already a guaranteed piece of equipment, and we have a lot of fun pieces of equipment this year. So, why do I get to have 2 field upgrades and a lethal and a tactical? That doesn't make any sense. They stopped doing that in Black Ops 2 until COD World War II, and now it hasn't left. Other than that, I love the aesthetic and feel of this game. Other than the loud footstep audio, I love the sound design. I like the UI. I like leveling up weapons. I like that I have to use one gun to unlock things for the next gun. I like that there are universal attachments that force you to use weapons you might not be comfortable with. It's so much more fun than just grinding each gun out individually or just tediously leveling up to get the next gun. Which you still have those things you have to do on top of the things that force you out of your comfort zone and force you to level up something else in a skill tree. I actually like being forced out of my comfort zone in this way. It's a fun thing to do. People are going to be using more variety this year because they want to unlock more weapons and more attachments. So even if there's a crappy burst rifle like the M16, you're going to see people using it if they feel like they need to use it to unlock other attachments. And I think that's good for Call of Duty. It might be growing pains, but if you're the kind of guy that just is going to run one gun all year so that you're just at your peak performance at all times, then this isn't really going to be affecting you anyway. You're going to unlock the exact things you need and you're not going to do anything else for the rest of the life cycle. But if you're somebody who likes variety and somebody who likes fighting more than one gun all year, this is just a net bonus. And it's a unique bonus to have. I wasn't expecting them to overhaul progression in an interesting way and have me not hate it. I also hope for traditional prestiging, but I'm not going to put my eggs in that basket. That basket's got a hole in it, and it just keeps disappointing me, and I keep losing all my eggs. But yeah, the gunplay and gun feel would have been really nice to experience, but unfortunately this beta had horrible netcode issues. So much damage stacking and desync, bullets going into the void, and aim assist not working through and near certain surfaces. It made playing kind of hard. Sometimes aim assist was so solid and so just predictable and usable on my controller, it felt good. Other times it got too strong and it would throw me off or just give me a free kill and I'm like, okay, that's not good. And then other times it would just click off entirely if trying to aim at somebody behind a fence, or if I was, trying to track a moving target, you could just tell that the aim assist had just, gone out to lunch, and I'm not a fan of that. That kind of scares me because that issue was a big problem in Vanguard, and it still feels like it's around in Vanguard that sometimes your aim assist just stops working around certain materials or around certain fences or if a certain part of the enemy's body's hidden. Hopefully that's not an issue in this game. But honestly, I'm gonna say this. This is the hottest take of this video, and it's kind of a shit take, not gonna lie, but it's mine and I'm gonna own it. The beta could launch the exact way it is now with its clunky UI, small bugs and glitches, loud ass footsteps, no red nameplates above enemy heads. It could launch exactly how it was in this beta right now if it had solid netcode without damage stacking, if it had solid netcode without as much desync, just better connections, less ping fluctuations. If that happened, I'd be happy. It was so hard to enjoy the game when my bullets were going into a void. My ping was spiking like 40 milliseconds high, then 40 milliseconds low all the time. Not even getting shot on my screen, just dying to SMGs at mid-range, just suddenly, I guess I got killed, and even kill cams being confused as to how many times I was shot. Kill cam showing one red hit marker that's not a headshot hit marker getting shot at by an MP5 doesn't make any sense. An MP5 doesn't kill in a single headshot, but it did. The server was like, here's all the damage at once, and just did it. So that kind of shit happened way too much, and by the end of the beta, I was just done. Because when I'm not playing very well, or my game sense is off, or my map control is bad, and whatever, maybe my aim is shit, that's already bad enough. When I am landing shots, when I'm pre-firing people, when I'm walking into somebody hip-firing, and the game goes, I don't know what to tell you, you got killed in one bullet, and none of yours did anything, that gets old. I did not end on good terms with this beta because of this issue. So I'm saying everything else could stay the same, fix the fucking netcode, and I'm down to play. This game has some of the funnest feeling and looking weapons in my opinion. I love the animation work. I love that they're simultaneously just as detailed as Modern Warfare, but cleaner than Modern Warfare. My only tweak, my only bitch about Modern Warfare 2's weapons and gunplay feel is just, I don't know, the amount of screen shake and the amount of visual recoil and the amount of gun bob, that bugs me. But either way, Modern Warfare 2 looks really promising. Again, footstep audio, red nameplates, netcode issues, and then I'm kind of good. If they do overhauls to the perk system, great. If they do overhauls to the minimap, I'll be fine. But really, there's not much they could do to piss me off. My only subjective complaint that I might just do my own little video on that's separate from this one is I think the maps are boring. There is a level of regression I'm feeling here after playing Vanguard and being able to destroy entire walls and knock doors off their hinges, and hell, even Black Ops 4 had some map interaction. And what really bummed me out about Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer was just how static the 6v6 maps felt. There's no moving parts. No interesting gimmick. Nothing that makes me go, wow. But either way, I'm gonna eat some candy corn, edit this video together, get it uploaded, and you know, you're gonna be watching it. You're watching it right now. It's like 20 minutes long and you're still watching. It's over though. There's no more bitching I can do. This was my rant. This was it. So, thanks for coming. Thanks for playing. See you when I see you. Fuck off. Is that with Ghost and Dead Silence? I have Ghost and Dead Silence. What the fuck was that?